So if you're looking here, I got 16 cells here, and these are all single terminal. I bought these from Global. They were $71 a piece shipped or something. They're grade A's. Supposed to be anyway. These are going in my house. Actually, I have 8 cells that were grade B's, and I've never been happy with the balance on them. And so I'm going to pull those 16 out, and these 16 are going in its place, and the 16 I'm pulling out are going to go in my golf cart. So first thing I'm going to do here is I got my multimeter out. I'm going to make sure each one of these cells is properly marked for polarity. So I'll get that done, and then I'll move on to the next. Alright, polarity checked out good. Now if you notice, I don't have any separator sheets in between here. What I'm doing is I'm going to measure the whole pack length. And I just got done measuring it. Now when you do this step, be really careful because you're using a steel tape measure. And I did measure it like down the center here, but be extremely careful. Either cover your terminals or be really careful and measure the pack length. I come up with 1145 millimeters. I also measured here at the corners and on the bottom. So I got 1145 millimeters, and so I know what my base length is. Now I'm going to get some Poron out here because I'm going to put these in compression actually when I go to balance them. So for cutting Poron, I just got a paper cutter. It's kind of a cheapie off of Amazon. I don't throw my scraps away either because you'll end up with a bunch of these left over. These here are the full sheets. But I want to use these up, so I'm just going to piece them on in here, and you end up with some strips like that. So hey, just keep cutting and keep covering the faces, and I'll get these all done. So I just got done making 4 of these here end plates. The way I make these is these are 3/8 inch thick aluminum plate. You can get it in an 8-inch width, and it's some drop I had laying around. Now the width here is 9 inches, so cut it off at 9, and it's 8 inches here to here. My holes are 7 7/8 on center, and I always just make it an inch up. Basically you're running about a 1/2 inch in and a 1/2 inch in. But yeah, the whole plate's 9 inches, and of course it comes in an 8-inch width. So the reason why you want the 8-inch width is it fits really well here with the height on your cell. You see that? So there's a PVC cover goes over the threaded rod. These are 5/16 hole. I use a 5/16 threaded rod, just top and bottom. And then I slip a PVC, 1/2 inch PVC over the ends, or over the rod, so that way it's all insulated. I did 4 of these. I got 4 shells going in there, so doesn't take you long. Maybe took me a little over half an hour to make all 4 plates. Always chamfer all the holes, make sure you don't have any burrs on the side or on the bottom. So moving on to the next step. So I got my foam on there. It's in between each cell, and I have the end plates covered. Okay, my foam is 3.18 millimeters thick, and I have 17 sheets, so that makes 54 millimeters. I want it compressed 25% to 30%, so I'm going to use about 15 millimeters compression for all the foam. If I take that from 54, that gives me 39. I add that to my pack length I measured before, 1145. That gives me 39 millimeters. Out of that gives me 1184 millimeters I want for compressed length, and that's where I'll set my hard stop on my rods. So I got the rods cut here. On this end here, we're just going to fasten the plate on the end, and we got a nut on the inside. Basically we're just sandwiching the plate in between the 2 nuts. On this end, we put a nut on the inside, and also on the outside, but we set it so that the distance between the 2 plates is our 1184 millimeters. Okay, that'll give you a hard stop when you tighten this plate up against that nut. Now I'm actually going to cover this up with probably some 1/2 inch PVC, and I do that because then I can get it covered around the nut. I've seen guys use nylon tubing, anything that works, but I just take a piece of 1/2 inch PVC. I got to use a step drill in the end just to bore the end out a little bit so the nut will fit inside of it. But then I set it for 1184 inches, and that way when I go to tighten everything down, I'll have my cells all at the right compression with between 25 and 30% compression on my phone. So that's how it's done. So I got my PVC covers on here. Like I said, if you put your nut here on the inside and set it for the right length, which I have 1184 millimeters, then that's a hard stop and I can't compress my cells anymore. Got my foam all in here, okay, and I don't throw nothing away. I even keep the bell end. And the advantage of that is if your piece is a little short, you can telescope it through here if you don't glue it. So just a little tip there. You could use a connector in between two halves. I do cut the one side usually because to length, and it's usually 6 millimeters shorter than what my compressed pack length is going to be. So it was 1178 millimeters. I cut the PVC conduit that's all one piece on the other side. I do have, I'm starting to charge here and get them top balanced. I have a couple of 12 volt overkill BMSs, and basically I'm charging up 4 cells here and then 4 more cells, and I got a couple power supplies here just working at it. And when I hit high voltage disconnect, then I'll move on to the next 4 cells and repeat the process till I got all 16 of them charged to that point, and then I'm going to put them all in parallel. The reason I'm charging all these up and I want them fully charged is they're going to be added to my house bank. They're replacing 16 cells in there that have 8 cells that were grade Bs that were not matched very well. And those are going in my golf cart. So basically these 16 are going in, and I want them fully charged because I'm going to have my bank fully charged before I connect, and that way I don't get a huge inrush of current in and out. So anyway, moving on, I'll get these all basically charged and I'll show you how I do the rest of the parallel balance. So I got all the cells charged up, all 16, using the 2 BMSs. Basically they're all charged to just above 3.6 volts, and then I take the VMSs off and add all these short leads here to put all my cells in parallel. This way I don't have to take them out of the fixture. And I made up these wire leads back when I was doing my house bank. That's 64 cells, and wanted to be able to charge them up fairly quick and then hit them with the top balance to 3.65 volts. So I said, you know what, I'll just take a bunch of terminals and just make a bunch of short leads. So this is the result. I got the negative attached on this end, and I got the positive on this end. You know, the nice part about having these leads is if I have a battery in my bank that's getting out of balance, kind of wacky, I can always take the bus bars all off and throw these leads on there, and then take my power supply, put it on there, and balance the cells back out again. Basically I got my power supply set to 3.65 volts, and the maximum charge current on this power supply is 10 amps. So you know, it's slowly dropping. It'll eventually drop to almost 0 amps, and that's when you know that you got everything all top balanced. Basically all you're doing is you're holding at a voltage of 3.65 and just slowly letting the current run in to fill in all the batteries that are lower in voltage till they all even out, you know. And this works good. I've been pretty happy with this setup. Now on my shop bank, I won't be needing to do any of this because I'm going to use JK BMS with an active balancer, and what I do there is I'm getting towards top balance, and usually I'll only balance them to, you know, like 3.6 volts. But what I'll do is one thing about a JK is they will balance even while you're not charging. So you can charge them up for a while, let them sit, and it'll balance the cells out. You can charge them up for a bit and it'll balance the cells out. And I ain't in a big hurry, I got plenty of things to do anyway. So that works pretty good, but for these I wanted to get them all fully charged and get them all top balanced before they go in the house. So in the house I have a Batrium, and that only has 3/4 of an amp of balancing current. So you know, if you have cells that are quite a bit out of balance, you got to top balance them first before you put them in. But you know, it can be done if you really want to go slow at it, but you know, it's still, that's pretty tough to do. Been a few hours now. I don't even know how long I've been just working on my battery bank for my shop. They're building the box, but you can see I'm under 1 amp, so I'm only putting a couple watts in there, and basically these are done. So next time you see them, I'll probably be putting them in my house bank. So later.